Dave and Darren about ready to drop another one of those top 5 things podcasts on you. My partner Darren is here. I'm here, and we're glad that you're here as well. Thanks for downloading the show. You're about to be treated to the top 5 things that happened on Dave and Darren in the Morning on Planet 93.9. Thanks to Nature's Treatment of Illinois for making it happen.
They are the sponsors of the podcast. They have 2 locations, Tech Drive in Milan and West Main Street in Galesburg. The Milan store is open every day. Galesburg is open weekdays and Saturdays. The Milan store offers both medicinal and recreational. Galesburg is recreational only, and those recreational waiting lists that make it nice and simple for you are available, and you can reserve your time at ntillinois.com.
Here's number 1.
Number one. Number one.
Story that I've heard a handful of times, and it's a great story. The story of Flamin Hot Cheetos. Are you familiar with this story, Darren?
I know.
Flaming Hot Cheetos, invented by a guy that was like a janitor at Frito-Lay. He came up with the idea. This guy was working as a janitor at the Frito-Lay company.
I can't taste anything.
Richard Montanez.
I've been around a lot of cleaning supplies for a long period of time, and I've lost my sense of smell and taste. This is pre-COVID, folks. Just anything. I would just like some sort of sensation on my tongue.
It's a great story. This guy's working as a janitor, Richard Montanez, working as a janitor, and then he starts like cooking around with Cheetos to try and improve them in his kitchen at home. And then he says, I've got this recipe. I've been working hard on this, and the people at Cheetos are so excited. And
was he a janitor at Cheetos?
Yes, at Frito-Lay, the parent company. All yes, right. He was the Cheeto janitor. Yes. It's a great story because it's got everything that you want. A guy who works hard and has a dream and then becomes a legend, really. But if you ever have Flaming Hot Cheetos, someone will say, these were invented by a janitor. It's a pretty well-known story. In fact, so well-known that this guy has written 2 books about it. And Ava Longoria is producing a movie about this guy's story.
Nice.
Yeah, right?
Now, he invented this in his own kitchen, you're saying. He wasn't using the company equipment?
No, the way the story is that he invented it on his own as the janitor. That he was the one who invented Flaming Hot Cheetos.
Because if you're using our equipment, you didn't invent anything.
Came up with the idea during one of their method improvement programs where they were looking for new ideas and fresh products. He says, that kind of inspired me. So I always had these ideas for different flavors and products. The only difference in what I did is I made the product, instead of just writing the idea on a piece of paper and sending it, they would forward those products to the appropriate people. And I didn't know because I was just a frontline worker. So he invented it on his own. And they're going to make this film about, inspiring people to do the right thing. This will be a film about his life that will begin filming this summer. The problem is, none of that's true. And this guy has written 2 books and is getting this movie produced. And somebody did a little digging because it does seem a little strange that a janitor would have come up with an idea for Flaming Hot Cheetos, right? They have a bunch of people there at Frito-Lay that work on this stuff. And the LA Times did this expose, and this new report that just came out says that Montanez claims that he invented Flaming Hot Cheetos, but he was not, according to Frito-Lay, involved in the creation at all. A statement that Frito-Lay wrote to the LA Times once they started digging around. Their statement is, quote, none of our records show that Richard was involved in any capacity in the Flamin' Hot test market. We've interviewed multiple personnel who were involved in the test market, and all of them indicate that Richard was not involved in any capacity in the test market. That doesn't mean we don't celebrate Richard, but the facts do not support this urban legend. In the article in the LA Times, Frito-Lay claims that it was Lynn Greenfield, an employee at the corporate office, who developed Flamin' Hot Cheetos in 1989. The company credits her with the name Flamin' Hot Cheetos. And they also give her credit for bringing the product to market.
All right, now what sort of relationship did she have with him?
He wasn't even working at Frito-Lay when all of this was happening. He wasn't there.
And so then
He wasn't even working there when they came up with the idea.
Now, how did Eva Longoria and her people not know this? So she's on the hook?
Well, Eva Longoria loves it because it's a story of a Hispanic triumph.
That's not true.
But it's not true, exactly.
And so she's still on the hook to make this movie?
Well, they were going to start it in the summer, and I wonder now. The statement from Frito-Lay says, "We value Richard's many contributions to our company, especially his insights into Hispanic customers, but we do not credit the creation of Flamin' Hot Cheetos or any Flamin' Hot products to him." See, because that's part of his story is I was telling them, as a Hispanic, you need to have a spicier option. And that's how I came up with Flamin' Hot Cheetos. They had already been invented. That would be like me getting a job as a janitor at Frito-Lay and being like, Caucasians really like ranch. You should make like a Cool Ranch Dorito. That's what I think. And I'm going to write a book about my contribution here. He says that he has no idea who this Greenfeld is, but he remembers testing out the seasoning for Flamin' Hot Cheetos in his garage.
Wait a minute. So it's moved now from your kitchen to your garage?
Well, he also says that he was pushed out of testing the product in the market.
Yeah, because that's not your job.
No, somebody spilled some Cheeto dust. We need you to go clean that up. The film that's going to be released about his life is scheduled to begin filming this summer.
Maybe not.
Montanez is telling Variety, the entertainment newspaper, he sees no reason why Frito-Lay's claims that he didn't invent Flaming Hot
Cheetos
Cheetos
change anything.
Would impact the project. He says now he thinks the film is going to inspire people to do the right thing. Don't make the mistake I made. Document everything. The story isn't really about hot Cheetos. The story is about overcoming adversity and racial discrimination. No, the story is about how you're a janitor who invented Flaming Hot Cheetos. That is what the story is.
And never got paid.
Wouldn't
that drive you to madness?
He's furious that he...
Wouldn't that drive you to madness? That every time you go to the grocery store and you take a look at that, I invented that and I didn't get a dime?
He says to Variety, I was Frito-Lay's greatest ambassador, but I will say this, you're going to love your company more than they will ever love you. Keep that in perspective.
I think the greatest ambassador was the Frito Bandito.
That's a problematic ambassador, though, Darren. You can't have Frito Bandito. That's not something Eva Longoria is going to greenlight.
Well,
none of our records show that he was involved in any capacity. Now, it is true that he did work his way up from a janitor at the company to a marketing executive. And the fact that this guy somehow managed to write 2 books about this story, that's a complete, as we say here on the show, yumbo. You got to tip your cap. He disputes Frito-Lay's statements. So maybe now the story is about how Frito-Lay is trying to change the story because they're trying to make sure he doesn't get any of that Flamin' Hot Cheeto money.
But to this point, he's got no money from it, right?
He says his story is that he pitched the idea for Flamin' Hot Cheetos in 1991. The problem is it was already a thing in 1989. It was already on store shelves in 1989.
Yeah, see, that's the rub right there.
Your story doesn't work. He did not work for the company.
How would you feel if you bought that book?
Wow. Well, Montanez says, we created our seasoning. It wasn't at the plant. It was in my kitchen, in my garage. Then we sent it to headquarters. When headquarters did a new product development, they sent a whole team. With me, they sent 1 scientist. By this time, they already had seasoning because they were not going to use something that made someone sick. We made 2,000 cases. We whipped it into the zones to the warehouses where they're going to test market. By this time, they had pushed me out. No, they had already developed the seasoning in December of 1989.
Now, I understand what the first book is about. Mm-hmm. What's the second book about?
Well, I want to tell you the story again.
What's the follow-up? What's the sequel? What's that about? Who buys the second book?
The producers were informed of the results of an investigation the people at Frito-Lay did in 2019, but they've decided to move forward.
Okay, well, as long as they're aware of it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they know that this isn't... If the movie's going to be about how somebody claimed to invented something that was already invented, I think that could almost be a better movie. Frankly. The janitor who made up a story and got everyone to believe him to the point where, I mean, I've heard this story so many times. You know, a janitor created that Flamin' Hot Cheetos. No, it turns out.
You know, Colonel Tom Parker wasn't from West Virginia.
Not a colonel. Not an American.
Not an American.
No. Richard Montanez, it says here, an author and businessman best known for claiming to have invented Flamin' Hot Cheetos. That's his story. He's the author of 2 books based on his experiences, A Boy, a Burrito, and a Cookie, and Flamin' Hot, the incredible true story of one man's rise from janitor to top executive.
Not all true.
But you didn't invent it. You're famous for claiming you invented something. Everybody, my name is Dave Lavora, and I came up with the idea for the light bulb. Now, send those checks in, would you, every time you turn lights on? I came up with the light bulb. Where's my pound of flesh? Settle for a bag of Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
Number 2.
New study out of Japan finds that mammals can breathe in emergency situations out of their butts.
That's good to know.
Potentially. Right now, they say it's only pigs and mice that they can absolutely with certainty tell you are able to do this.
Pigs and mice.
But you may be able to add humans to the list of mammals who can use their intestines to breathe in the future.
Tic Tac?
Uh-huh. Mammals in emergency situations can breathe using their butts. It's true.
Pigs and mice. So nice. Can I offer you a breath mint?
It's called intestinal ventilation, where they pump oxygen through, Darren, your rectum. Mm-hmm. The oxygen goes in the butt, and it keeps you alive.
Rectum damn near killed him.
And they say that this finding could save millions of people worldwide from respiratory failure. Like if your throat closes up, right?
Yeah.
And then instead of having to form a tracheotomy, they could just put a tube up your butt and pump you full of oxygen that way. Back to front breathing. This is not unusual for certain aquatic organisms. Did you know that a catfish breathes out of its butt?
I'm just learning that now.
Mm-hmm. Catfish uses its rear end instead of their lungs or gills to breathe. Why does a catfish even need gills if it breathes out of its butt?
Yeah. Where's the evolution there?
We haven't known until this study came out on Friday from the Tokyo Medical and Dental University. We haven't known if mammals had the same ability that sea cucumbers and catfish have. But it turns out we might. Artificial respiratory support, the study reads, plays a vital role in the clinical management of respiratory failure due to severe illnesses such as pneumonia or acute respiratory distress syndrome. If you have pneumonia and they're able to put a hose up there and pump you full of oxygen, then they'll be able to keep you alive long enough to get over pneumonia.
I was the one that made the suggestion to the doctors. Boy, you should have seen the looks on their faces.
The side effects and safety, they say, need to be thoroughly evaluated in humans. Don't just go start putting, like a tire pump in your butt.
Love is like oxygen.
Breathing. Well, that's what they say. Our approach, they say, may offer a new paradigm to support critically ill patients with respiratory failure. They developed a gas ventilation system to administer pure oxygen through animals' rectums. They tested it on mice, rats, and pigs. Results show without the system, no mouse survived more than 11 minutes in extreme low oxygen conditions. But with ventilation, with the hose up your little mouse tush, 75% of the mice survive for 50 minutes in what would normally be lethal conditions. It's like they're scuba diving, but the snorkel is, where the sun don't shine.
Actually, that would be more convenient.
Now, one issue is you have to kind of break through an intestinal barrier. So right now, it's not clinically feasible for humans. And if you're severely ill, the last thing you need is people drilling holes in your intestines, right? So then they came up with a different way of doing it. They're using a liquid-based ventilator, which uses chemicals. Basically, they put the oxygen in water form, and then they pump it up there. Researchers tested that new system on rodents and pigs exposed to low but non-lethal levels of oxygen. Both mice and pigs getting the ventilation received more oxygen and could walk faster in a chamber that only had 10% oxygen. They say it also, by the way, added more color to the animal's skin and helped keep them warm.
Real rosy hue. Put a real bounce in my step.
Maybe this will replace spray tans. You just go and have them hose you.
Well, if it comes to this, and you need this, just make sure that it's oxygen and not helium.
You need to be scraping grandma off the ceiling. It's not the best. Here's the thing. With everything that we've gone through in the last year or so, where we lost, millions of people worldwide due to respiratory failure.
Right.
They have to find new ways to treat respiratory failure. So now they're going to be doing some preclinical studies and taking, regulatory steps and eventually bringing this system to market. There is a real need for ventilators and artificial lungs. And if they're able to do it in a different way, where they're able to, again, put oxygen in you. I mean, look, if you're staying alive.
Hello, friends. I'm Pat Boone. I can see the infomercial already.
Smell my ass. What? Smell my ass.
I'm Pat Boone, friends.
Hello, friends. Do you know the banks are trying to take all your money? That's why I put a hose in my butt and pump air up there.
You like this robe I'm wearing? It can be yours. I mean, this actual robe.
Because the nefarious people that run the banking system are always trying to make me sick, I keep all of my urine in these mason jars, and I never wear a robe for more than 15 minutes.
Hello, friends. I'm Pat Boone. I'm not as I appear. I'm a monster.
That is how you appear, Pat. What vibe do you
You're
think?
You're not fooling anybody.
What vibe do you think you're giving off?
With your white buckskins.
Weird old man.
Rip-off artist.
Dave and Darren.
Number
3.
Downriver.
Downriver.
In Little Rock, Arkansas, they had an issue with a bridge that crosses the Mississippi River, where people go from Arkansas into Tennessee. And the problem they had was a crack in the bridge, which,
you don't want that.
In our experience, we find that's not great. The bridge inspector who somehow missed this crack has been
not that strong when it comes to bridge inspections.
Been let go from their position. The inspector who failed to discover a crack in the Interstate 40 bridge that connects
Bob,
Arkansas to Tennessee.
Bob, you want to come in here and talk to us here for a second?
Arkansas Department of Transportation Director Lori Tudor said the inspector was fired after drone video showed a crack on the bridge. The crack was found in May of 2019. The crack was not noted by the inspector in his reports that fall or the following year. That's the crack, Darren. I don't know if you can see if Spank's in the way, but that's a...
Yeah. Now, I don't have that...
Missed it every time.
I don't have that sort of training that he had.
No, you're not a licensed bridge inspector.
No, I'm not.
You would look at that and say, that's not good. The incident now being referred to federal investigators.
I don't know if we need to make a federal case out of this.
No, that's exactly what this is.
If you're going to drone on and on about it, sure.
If
you're going to use a drone, you can find anything you want.
So what, do you want to make a federal case out of it?
Yes, it's uniting two states, so that's the very definition of a federal case, yes. They had footage of this crack in May of 2019. 2 years go by, and this bridge inspector never noticed this massive crack in the bridge. Traffic on the 6-lane bridge shut down last week after inspectors found a significant fracture on one of the horizontal steel beams. Those steel beams are critical for the integrity of the bridge. They shut down traffic last week on Tuesday, but then they reopened the bridge on Friday. This is a heavily used corridor, and the American Trucking Association said that they estimated the closure was costing the trucking industry $2.4 million a day. How anxious are you to go on that bridge after, they had a couple days to fix it, but...
I mean, what does this bridge inspector typically get done in a day?
Right. How many bridges are there to inspect? Yeah. No, I went over it. It was fine.
Well, yeah, from that vantage point, it doesn't look good.
They have to install steel plates to provide stability, and there's a whole bunch of phases that they have to work on here.
Well, that's exactly right. That's what I was trying to say.
Traffic rerouted as this is a...
You're going to turn this into a real headache.
So now it says here now that they're not projecting a reopening date for the bridge.
Who could know? I don't have a crystal ball.
Oh, okay. River traffic is what they shut down. You couldn't go under on the river Tuesday.
No, it's
but
not.
They reopened it on Friday. But there are no cars or trucks on this bridge right now.
That's not safe.
And they don't know when it'll be.
The bridge could fall down on you.
Yeah. They will continue to do drone reviews to see where the cracks are and fix this. It's they call it a fracture critical.
Now, how does he go looking for his next job?
So it says here you were a bridge inspector.
That's right.
What can you tell me about that?
Well, there was some good and some not so good.
It says here you were let go and a federal case was made out of it.
Well, that's exactly right. That's what I said.
Number
4.
Another story of a wedding causing some hard feelings between family members.
Oh, they always do.
Yeah, this one takes a turn I don't think you're going to see coming. This guy is 21 years old.
Yep.
He says, I first started dating my now ex-girlfriend, who's also 21.
Ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, this is his ex-girlfriend. He says, I first started dating my ex-girlfriend when we were both 16. However, we made the decision to break up before heading off to college when we were 18.
Okay.
I decided to go a few hours away while she decided to stay in town. Also note that my girlfriend was very close with my family, so this was hard on my family as well.
Mm-hmm.
When returning home from my first year of college, my brother, my twin brother,
oh no,
my identical twin brother,
he wears my clothes,
surprised me with the news that he'd been dating a girl for over 6 months now.
Oh yeah, who's that?
The problem was it was my ex-girlfriend. I was obviously furious, and my brother understood but made it clear he had no intention of breaking up with her.
Oh, I get it. I understand.
Eventually, we came to the agreement that we would continue our relationship if he never mentioned her to me or made us interact. He happily agreed to those terms. However, recently, my brother surprised me yet again.
He's quite serious.
With news that the two of them are now engaged, and he wants me to be the best man. I told him absolutely not. He and I agreed from the beginning that I would not have to attend any event where my ex would be.
You mean like Thanksgiving and Christmas?
My whole family is calling me selfish and telling me I can suck it up for one night. But I don't feel comfortable being the best man at my ex's wedding. So am I being a jerk for refusing to go to the wedding and be his best man?
Well,
we are identical twins.
If you don't like the wedding,
yeah,
you are not going to care for the honeymoon. But you're invited.
These are graphic pictures being sent to the whole family.
I don't think this is what these cameras on these tables are for.
But you broke up with her, right? Like,
yeah. Well, I mean,
what did you expect your brother to do, man? Especially if she's over at the house all the time.
I knew she was attracted to me. She was attracted to you.
She's got a type. I'll say this. Yeah.
I think you got to question the girl a bit.
You think that's weird that she goes after the twin?
I mean, it's a little weird.
I don't know. I could see if you break up with somebody and they have an identical twin. I could see it's like, well, there are things I liked about you, but things I didn't care for.
Your personality, for one.
There it is. So if I can have you but not be you, why not give that a chance?
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with you physically.
No, physically, I thought everything was right where I wanted it. It's just
mentally, you had very little to offer.
The outside, I'm a fan of.
Yeah,
it's the inside that I had an issue with.
Yeah,
but if I was
looking for an upgrade there,
right? If I could get the same chassis but with a different motor, why wouldn't I give that a test drive? I don't think it's as tricky a situation to navigate. Also, to say you and I can still be identical twin brothers as long as we agree that I never have to interact with your girlfriend. How would you do that?
Otherwise, you're not going to be brothers?
Yeah, right. We don't have a relationship anymore because...
Well, then I guess you need to move along.
If you had to choose between an identical twin brother or a girlfriend, what would you choose?
Oh, my God. If I had an identical twin brother... Yeah, I don't think either one of us would be here. We probably would have strangled each other.
Hot girls, we have problems too. We're just like you.
Except we're hot. Yeah. No, strangled by the age of 3.
But now he's dead.
Well, it just seems like an unreasonable expectation.
They were both found in mutual death grips.
By the way, the consensus online here is that this guy is not in the wrong for refusing to go to the wedding. So, I mean, and the thing too is you surprised your identical twin brother with the news that you had a girlfriend for 6 months. Like, you didn't tell him right away. That's a big part of the problem.
Yeah.
Hey,
I was going to tell you.
Right.
I'm going to get around to it, maybe next weekend. So,
hey, Tanya came over and we went out to dinner. She's pretty cool. Like, you just say that right away as opposed to, guess what I'm doing these days?
She'll be at the 4th of July barbecue.
Yeah, she's going to be at everything if she's going to be the wife.
Yes.
She's coming to every Christmas.
Yes.
Could you leave her in the car while we unwrap the presents and then I'll leave? That's not.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like it ended badly.
No.
You ended because you moved away. You snooze, you lose. You leave, then no callbacks, no save. There's no savesies on an ex-girlfriend. It's not how it works. Can't call dibs on a human being. Well, that's...
Never cry over a horse. Never!
No, that's not fair. That's not fair. Risking your relationship with a identical twin for a girl. Can you imagine someone says,
I've been looking for a reason to jettison this identical twin, and here it is.
You know, Maybe that's it. Maybe you're looking for a reason to break up with an identical twin. That would be a lot to deal with.
It would be tough.
An identical twin?
Mm-hmm.
You walk alike, you talk alike. A hot dog makes you lose control.
Uh-huh.
Oh, no, wait, that's identical cousins.
How's that work?
Identical cousins?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It's not a thing.
Genetically add up.
No, that was...
What's going on? We need to ask Dad. What's the deal with that?
Did they ever explain? We're talking about the Patty Duke show.
Mm-hmm.
The Patty Duke show the premise was that
they had identical cousins.
They were identical cousins.
Not sisters.
Yeah, but they didn't.
Cousins.
Right.
A dad.
Meet Kathy, who's lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square.
But Patty's only seen the sights the girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a crazy pair, but they're cousins.
Identical cousins. How is that possible that you would have an identical cousin? How do they explain that on the show? Dad was a traveling salesman?
Maybe the same father.
Was that how the show ended? Dad sat Patty down and explained some things? Listen, she's not your cousin. That's ridiculous.
That's a stupid premise. We told you that early on. Clearly, that doesn't add up.
Identical paternal cousin. That's not a thing, right? That's not a thing. It's called a double cousin. You share with your cousin 12.5% of DNA, right? If you are a double cousin, then you share a quarter of your DNA.
Still doesn't sound like identical.
No, that's not identical at all.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. You listen.
Listen.
What else?
People are gonna love it.
Look, there's only 2 channels.
They're gonna love it.
You can get away with this when it's 1960 and there's 2 channels.
Uh-huh.
Patty Duke, you're ridiculous. Yeah, they had a remarkable resemblance, explained by the fact that their fathers are identical twins. Okay, so identical twins. The fathers are identical twins. Patty has an American accent, and Kathy speaks with a Scottish accent. What?
Well, one of the twins was Scottish.
Oh, by the way, Patty and Kathy also have an additional identical cousin, a Southern belle named Betsy.
Of course they do.
There's 3 of them?
Come on.
You ridiculous Patty Duke.
5.
Number 5.
Moline man in a little bit of trouble for quitting his job at Culver's. This would be the Culver's that's on Jersey Ridge Road in Davenport.
I gotcha.
I guess this happened back in August. He'd had enough.
Okay.
Enough was enough working at the Culver's.
There's a breaking point. Sure.
Yeah, we're all there. We've all been there. Where you want to say, take this job and shove it. And there are ways to quit your job that are acceptable.
What'd you just say?
There are ways to quit your job, though. I mean, you want to make sure that when another employer calls to talk about the time that you worked there, you want to make sure that you leave, a good taste in their mouth, right? Like to blow up and quit, even if you hate every minute that you're working at a place, you got to keep it cool until you're gone.
I would offer up the 2 words, scorched earth.
It's not the best policy, not professionally speaking. This guy's name is Bryce Macias, lives in Moline. He'll be in Scott County Court. Cops say that he stole $9,000 from the Culver's where he was the manager. Got arrested over the weekend on a warrant, 2nd-degree theft.
There's a lot of better burgers.
There's a penalty of up to 5 years in prison and a fine of anywhere from $750 to $7,500.
What is that, a better butter burger?
They're moving a lot of cheese curds.
A lot.
Jersey Ridge Road, it's August of last year. Bryce was one of the managers. He took all of the money from the safe, all of the money out of the drawers. Then he took off his work shirt and laid it on his desk. He then handed the keys to the store to an employee saying, "That's it, I quit." Left the restaurant, with $9,492 in cash.
Quitting is one thing.
Right. Now, you would think Bryce would understand, as the manager of that Culver's, that they got video cameras all over the place.
I helped put them up.
All of this is on video. Him taking all the money, putting it in a bag, taking off his shirt, handing his keys. He's been released on his own recognizance. He'll be in court on June 10th to kind of explain things. This sounds like a case of just snapping. Like, I'm done.
I'm beyond done.
And my severance package is a little something I put together.
That I approved.
I signed off on it.
I did.
As the manager here at Culver's.
All the paperwork is where it needs to be.
You know what I would take if I were this guy?
The stuffed pepper soup.
And those cool numbers that they give you to put on your window. I'd have a couple of those. You know?
Now serving.
Right? And I think you know which number I'd take.
69, dudes!
I have to assume that they don't make that, because if they did, people would just drive off with that number. If they made a 69, people would just, or I bet they don't even print it on their tickets when you're waiting there at the Culver's. I bet it's now serving 68, now serving 70. They don't want to deal with all of that kind of talk.
Oh, I don't know. I think I'd give them the number back.
You think?
Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily have to save that for a souvenir.
We have audio because, again, there are video cameras all throughout the Culver's there on Jersey Ridge Road. We have some audio of his goodbye speech. Is this right?
So what I'm understanding here, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you're not giving me any money. So now I'm left basically with nothing. I'm left with zero, what can I do with zero?
Right, no, you didn't get
it.
zero. You walked away allegedly with more than $9,000 from the safe and the registers. Taking all the money out of the drawer is an interesting move, too.
You're not going to need any of this.
Sorry, we're only able to use cards here at the Culver's.
For the time being.
Our shirtless manager just quit.
We're pretty sure he quit.
I have the keys for some reason. I just started on Tuesday.
If he didn't quit, he's left for the day.
He needs some time to just chillax with a
Now, it would be an interesting
Turtle
case.
Sunday.
It'd be an interesting case to be a part of, I suppose.
Yeah.
Let's hear the excuse here.
What we're dealing with here is a complete lack of respect for the law.
It's possible Bryce has a perfectly logical explanation.
We're gonna hear him out.
Yeah. Until the man has his day in court, we don't know.
Is it all over, Rock? I guess so. I didn't think it'd be like this.
That's David Darren's Top 5 Things. Thank you so much for listening to it. We'll have another one for you soon.
The podcast brought to you by Nature's Treatment of Illinois. You can order recreational items online from the Galesburg location and medicinal items online from the Milan location. And you can do that through Leafly. All you have to do is go to the website. That's ntillinois.com.
Till we get a chance to do another one of these for you. Thanks for listening. Hang loose, kooks.
And you stay classy and safe, Quad Cities.
Come on, Quad Cities, represent. This is for the Quad Cities record spot. Davenport, yeah, we keeping it locked. Rock Island, come on, and it just don't stop. East Moline, yeah, they keeping it hot.
I just want to thank each and every one of y'all for all you've done to your bodies. It's still real to me, damn it.